Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the final Orica Talks at the 12th edition of Orica Kuwait, organized by Hospitality News Middle East in partnership with Leaders Group and Odema Consulting Services, the leading provider of consulting services for hotels, restaurants, spa, and real estate projects. These sessions have aimed to shed light on hot topics in the industry, from women shaping gastronomy in Kuwait to food tech, the conversation we're going to be having shortly. Please do follow Hospitality News Middle East and tag us in your stories. I would like to start by introducing our moderator, the lovely Nada Alamuddin, who's the managing partner of Odema Consulting Services. Nada will be moderating the final talk this afternoon. But before we start discussing the future of food technology in Kuwait, I'd like to just introduce our fantastic panelists. I'm sure it's going to be a great conversation. So we have Siham Al-Husseini. She's the general manager of Deliveroo Kuwait. Siham is an experienced director as general manager of Deliveroo in Kuwait and Qatar. Siham spearheaded the launch of the popular food delivery platform in one of the region's food capitals. She has extensive practical experience in leading multifunctional teams for multi-million-dollar companies in both Kuwait and the United States. She also spent 4 years as a management consultant at Strategy and a top-tier firm in New York, tackling critical projects for the banking industry in North America. In 2021, Al-Husseini joined the board of directors at Al Jazeera Airways as an independent board member. We have Osama Al-Shair, who is the general manager for Kuwait for FoodX. Osama is a highly accomplished business leader with over a decade of experience in the logistics, sales, and customer service sectors in international companies and startups. He began his career at Aramex, where he held various roles and gained experience, including sales, customer service, and operations. He later joined PostRocket in Kuwait, where he built the company from scratch. Today, he leads the operations at FoodX and is responsible for driving growth and innovation. We have Sean Travaskis, who is the co-founder and CEO of GrowDash. Sean is a passionate food delivery expert with experience building restaurant-focused digital advertising technology and commercial strategies for both Talabat and Deliveroo across MENA and the UK. He started GrowDash, a restaurant analytics and BI platform, in 2022 with his ex-Talabat colleague, Enver Sorkum. Together with their team of passionate industry experts, they are on a mission to democratize data and empower restaurants to seamlessly build, execute, and proactively manage profitable growth strategies across digital sales channels. And last but not least, we have Badr Al-Othman, the general manager, Kuwait Get Curry. Passionate about revolutionizing Kuwait's food delivery scene, Badr combines enthusiasm for food tech and logistics. Instrumental in making Curry the largest food delivery app in Kuwait, he drives innovation and exceptional service, transforming how Kuwait indulges in culinary delights. So I'll hand over to Nada to start today's talk, and there'll be a Q&A at the end for you to ask your questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to our last session for a series of talks that we had throughout Orica. We are very pleased to have you here with us. So let us start with this exciting panel. We have always been struggling with food tech. People do not feel that this is like really something simple. So today we want to let them really understand how beneficial it is really to be here and to be hearing you, especially for those in the industry. So let us start with the first question. How would you describe the current state of the food tech industry in Kuwait? And what are the trends that you have been observing in recent years. So if I start with Osama, we need to press it.
Testing, testing. Thank you so much. Well, there's definitely a positive trend going upwards when it comes to food tech. We could see there is a rise in online delivery platforms for food. And there is also an increase in, let's say, virtual kitchens, cloud kitchens. This trend is mainly because of, let's say, convenience for the end customer. The end customers would love to save time and just go through delivery apps and just order food for them to come in at delivery for their place. Restaurants have adopted more technology to enhance efficiency in their restaurant operations. Cloud kitchens, restaurant owners are more into cloud kitchens where there is no dine-in. This helps them in reducing cost and delivering to areas where they couldn't have it's less cost for them if they do that instead of having a full-blown restaurant. So this is the trends that we have noticed in the recent years.
Siham, would you like to add anything?
Yes, sure. Thank you for having us first and foremost. I think the interesting thing about Kuwait is you talk about a lot of countries where there's like steep growth trends, but food delivery, maybe I'll speak for food delivery, and obviously there's multiple parts of the food delivery chain here on the panel today, but food delivery in Kuwait was established and became deeply penetrated from 2004. So when we talk about trends in a market like Kuwait, you're talking about a deeply penetrated food delivery market. And so the trends that I see, I think, are less steep growth and deep changes in consumer behavior like you might see in a market like Italy or some European countries where food delivery is actually not as deeply penetrated. But some of the trends we're seeing are incremental to the base of restaurant delivery that's been created. And when I say that, I mean trends in people ordering more occasions during the day. So people ordering more coffee, people ordering more grocery, people starting to look for more retail items, which is kind of a new venture that we're getting into at Deliveroo. So I think in that sense, Kuwait is a very interesting market. It's less about this expedited new penetration of food delivery and more about stepping and incremental increasing what's already there. And I think it makes it very, very unique and exciting, especially that I've been in this industry for 5 years. But the food delivery, if you think about it, has been in this market for over 20. I mean, I speak about Talabat and when they were founded. So those are some of the trends I see, and we can get into some of them as we discuss.
Definitely. Badr, if I go back to you, we know that online delivery has been like increasing incrementally, especially with COVID. What is the trend right now? Is it still like really a growing trend, or what is the situation?
First of all, thank you very much for having us here. Definitely, I believe Corona played a great role on changing the consumer behavior. I'm pretty sure there were segments that were not familiar with online ordering before COVID. For example, my aunts or my mom, honestly. It was not part of their daily style where I go online to a website or an Instagram page and place an order and it gets delivered to my doorstep. So definitely, I think Corona gave a boost when it comes to the food delivery, that it introduced the food delivery to too many segments before COVID. So definitely, I think COVID played a great, I would say, aspect here in optimizing the food delivery. And I believe all the food delivery platforms saw a spike in number of orders when Corona was there due to too many factors. One of them, which I just mentioned, is they have been introduced to new segments. The second thing is the lockdown, honestly. So people just staying at home, they need anything to be delivered to them.
And is it still continuing now? So are we like really seeing that this is still on the same pace?
The issue here, I don't have data, honestly. Kairi did not exist during COVID, so I don't have the before and after. So, but I'm pretty sure the trend is not as it used to be Corona days. Okay. I think there is a downtrend when it comes to food delivery, because there are still some customers who prefer And with Corona, honestly, people realized that I can cook my food at home without having orders delivered. So some segments discovered their talents during Corona times where I can cook anything at home. I think after Corona, we will never see Corona numbers again. There is a downtrend from Corona days.
I think that what happened with Corona was almost like you expedited the growth and the penetration of food delivery and awareness of food delivery by tenfold. So, and then of course, after that extreme spike, you don't have the same trajectory of growth, but it's still the trend of accelerating and introducing food delivery to a larger active customer base is maintained. And I think to the point I was trying to make earlier about Kuwait being so deeply penetrated, that the effect of COVID on places like where we operate, like Italy or France, was so much more pronounced because, too loud? Because there was the overall penetration of food delivery. And when I say that, I mean, the average person, if you take 100 people in France or in Paris, what percentage transact with food delivery or are aware of it, it was a much lower percentage than somewhere like Kuwait, where the penetration is so wide and deep. So I think you saw this expedited growth, and even though that slowed down, we still see kind of that uplift retained and the active customer base grown from that period. So COVID in many ways was an amazing accelerant for food delivery globally. And now we're back to reality, but now continuing to find other ways to grow, including things like grocery,
Exactly.
retail.
As you're saying, we're having like new things that have been introduced, which we're not there, or we're not even in the list, like the grocery and the rest. Yes.
Right. We saw that there was, we recognize we have this amazing infrastructure as food delivery companies, right? We have this huge network of logistics. We have this amazing technology that connects, what we call the three-sided marketplace. You have a customer, you have a vendor, a restaurant, and you have a rider. And we realize that it's a great plug and play to add additional occasions, kind of pushed forward and accelerated by COVID because the need was there. And now, even after introducing grocery and all these other occasions, meal prep, cook from home, we see retail as the next frontier. What else can we get the customer in 30 minutes? So yeah, COVID was definitely a huge boost, as Badr said.
Sean.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I think Sam's absolutely right. If we look at the aggregator space, the conversations that have been over the last trending period has been, how do we increase order frequency from the customer base we have? We're in very mature markets anyway, particularly in the Middle East versus Europe, particularly. This is a much more advanced market. I think from a restaurant perspective, though, looking at that side of things, the conversation is not now around order frequency. It's about how do I acquire new customers versus the competition, and how do I also retain those customers that are loyal to me versus the increased competition online. And that's the key trend that we're seeing recently, is how do restaurants become really data-driven in their decision-making process to invest in these types of channels to fuel that growth in a profitable and sustainable way. That's the key trend that we've seen probably over the last 2 to 3 years here, post-COVID.
Thank you. I would like now to go just like one step back, and if you can tell everybody about your different business models, each at your company, so that they understand better what you do, and then we can speak about how do you market yourselves. So I'll start with you, Sarah.
The easiest, because people are more familiar with food delivery, but essentially we're a food delivery aggregator, but we like to think of ourselves as we used to, now we've evolved, but like a food company. Our job is to connect 3 key stakeholders: restaurants, retailers, grocers, vendors, customers, which we'll talk a lot more about, I'm sure, with Sean, and our rider network. And so we are kind of a middleman that connects that cycle to make sure that customers get food delivered, that riders get that receive jobs and get pay based on the jobs that they deliver, and restaurants get incremental sales. So we're kind of a middleman, but we operate and work with all of those stakeholders to add value, whether it's incremental sales, again, like I said, payments, or customers, obviously the convenience and the overall proposition of restaurants and grocers that we offer them. So I'll spend the least time because I'm sure most of you are familiar with food delivery.
Foodex.
So, Foodex, we're your go-to if you want to have visibility on your restaurant's performance. We help you increase the efficiency of your restaurant, visibility of your stock in your inventory. Foodex is a restaurant management solution. So we're into point of sale systems, e-commerce. We provide you with the online solutions to acquire customers. We also provide payment solutions to actually increase the customer experience within your restaurant. So we are in the tech industry, and well, we work closely with restaurant owners to enhance their business operations as a whole, even assist them in decision making.
We're a technology stack that focuses on the pre-order journey for a restaurant. So we're a restaurant analytics and BI tool. We're essentially looking at campaign performance data and sales data from digital sales channels like the channels we have on the stage today. And we're helping restaurants understand from each of those channels how they should invest their marketing budgets to fuel that growth in a profitable way. We're linking it quite heavily to the P&L, helping restaurants determine not just the top line performance, but how their decisions are impacting their bottom line too, which I think is really important.
Okay. Badr?
We are on the food delivery aspect as well. So we connect, as Siham mentioned. We're familiar with delivery on that aspect when it comes to food delivery.
So basically, to make it simple, both of you are on the delivery side.
Yes.
And we are having both of you gentlemen from the food platforms and food tech.
Exactly, but there is a quite difference between me as Kari and any other platform. Here we work as a marketing platform, which we tell restaurants and the groceries that our job is to help you to acquire new customers. And I will provide you with all the tools to retain those customers on the platform. So you can have the order booster feature where you can create campaigns for repeated orders only. We came to the market, we are 1 year old right now. We came to the market because we have realized that the commissions that the aggregators are taking from the top line of restaurants are increasing year over year. So we came with a solution that we are a zero commission platform. We work as a marketing platform where you can put us in competition with the social media platforms. If you pay sponsor ads on Meta, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, we are pretty sure that we are cheaper than those platforms on acquiring new customers. So that's the only difference between me and Deliveroo. But yeah, we have familiar things when it comes to taking the order from the customer to the restaurant and delivering it all the way from the restaurant to the customer.
How do you market yourselves? Now, you are providing them with some marketing like tools, but how do you market yourselves to the clients of yours? How do you sell your services?
As a B2B, honestly, when we talk to vendors, we tell them, we believe that you are struggling in acquiring new customers. So put that pressure on us, and we will do whatever it takes to help you to generate new customers. And I will not leave it for you. So whenever you acquire a new customer, this customer is locked for you as a vendor for 1 year, meaning all the orders that he's placing within a year, we're not taking a pie from your top line. And I will provide you with all the tools that can guarantee increasing your retention rate.
Siham, being a British company, is that helping with the marketing the marketing like and penetrating the market because you're having like the mother company that is like as well helping you promote your services?
I think it depends on what the customer cares about. If you mean from a restaurant perspective, how we market ourselves to restaurants or to customers?
Yes, to restaurants.
I think restaurants, maybe it helps because we have a certain reputation and we have certain capabilities from our headquarters. And when I say capabilities, I mean digital tech capabilities, platform capabilities that give us a certain reputation. But I think restaurants care probably about a few things. One, they want to drive incremental sales. And when I say incremental, I mean above and beyond what they can currently generate. So they want to drive incremental sales. They want to give their customers the best possible experience so they can retain them. And then they want to have the right data and information to make decisions for how to grow or how to improve profitability. And I think for us, yes, being a British brand or being a large reputable brand that helps us somehow. But I think what it comes down to in terms of marketing ourselves or maintaining relationships is can we deliver on the things that the restaurant cares about, and can we equip our team with the right skills to manage and improve the bottom line, the top line for our partners. I think that's what sticks the most, and that's what I've seen matter the most. Because I mean, I started with Deliveroo 5 years ago when we launched here, and I mean, I remember the very early conversations. No one had any idea, including myself, what I was talking about when I said Deliveroo. So I think that has come with our presence here on the ground. That's come with the time and the reputation we've built locally, more so than globally.
With the trust as well.
And the trust of the local team. And I think that's a cultural thing in Kuwait. I think people appreciate certain global brands, but they appreciate the local kind of nuances that you adapt to as a team on the ground. And I think that's, over time, that's what's helped us more so, I believe.
Okay, now if you go to both of you, how difficult it is really to promote yourselves and to show your clients that it will be helping them with profitability and to make their life easier. So how do you go with that, Osama?
So while there are certainly sometimes difficulty in letting the customer know why do they have to invest in a cloud-based POS. Having that said, yes, again, there might be some difficulties, but then when they see the value proposition that a proper cloud-based POS system has to offer, such as Foodex, that difficulty decreases because how we provide the value to the customers. Our customers are mainly restaurant owners. Foodex as a restaurant management solution, again, it helps you with having visibility on your own restaurants. So you want to know how is your inventory stock looking like? How is the labor force performing? How is your best seller in your menu? Maybe there's seasonal changes. There's some consumer trends you have to look at. Having that said, we also, because we are a cloud-based POS, we provide the latest technologies and integration. So we can work well with delivery platforms such as Deliveroo, such as Carry. Therefore, you have visibility knowing where are your customers coming from. Payment methods, how are your customers, how are they paying? Are they paying through debit cards? Are they paying by cash? These are analytics and data that is provided to you to make better decisions for your restaurant growth.
Yeah, when we approach a restaurant, we normally work with the C-suite team or the marketing team to understand what their biggest challenges are. And the learnings that we've taken away over the last 18 months of GrowDash being around is that restaurants tend to fall into one or more of these three kind of key data buckets. They're either not utilizing data full stop to make decisions. They've got too much raw data from many different systems and no dedicated platform to utilize that data effectively. Or even if they do have some level of data, they're using humans to analyze and execute from that data. And what we tend to go in and say is, well, if we can take any view from any of those buckets and utilize the machine learning that we've got and the technology that we've got to make that process more efficient and more effective, we can empower you as stakeholders to do your job better. And that kind of conversation really kind of normally hits the note head on. And we kind of take it from there and show within our product suite the solutions that we have to tackle the varying different problems of restaurants from enterprise down to tail accounts across these channels.
Siham, you want to add something?
As I was listening to Sean, I was thinking it's important that he brings up this point of data, and it's probably answers part of the question too about trends. I mean, the importance of data today for restaurants in particular and grocers as well is so important, especially in a market that's so penetrated like Kuwait. Every piece of insight that you can gather about your retention or your incremental orders or the types of dishes that you're selling or the regions where you're best performing or the return on your investment if you're doing your marketing on a Deliveroo on another platform. I think it's so important, and it's become much more important for restaurants now when we've gotten so penetrated and everybody's looking for that additional few percent growth, especially in such a, you called it the capital, I think Lisa said the capital of F&B. There's so many restaurants, there's so much competition. Every little piece of data takes you above and beyond and allows you to grow and find that incremental sale. So it's a really, really good point about data, and it matters for every platform. You cannot empower your partner without the right information and data.
And that's absolutely right. It's not just about the data itself, it's about how you apply that data. It's understanding not just the individual metrics and what the meaning of that metric is, but how they all affect each other. And that's super important. We've seen this in the e-commerce industry about 10 years ago. They went through a seismic shift in terms of how they deal with data to drive themselves on digital channels like Amazon, Shopify, and so on. The F&B space is now catching up and now making that change themselves. We're seeing it led from the aggregators themselves and testament to them to be able to step up and start providing that data. The education piece that comes alongside that is quite difficult to roll out at a global scale.
Yeah.
But the more tools that come into the market across the post-order and the pre-order journey and how the marketplaces collaborate with those tools together, that will fuel the learning moment for everybody to be able to seize that data and use it in the right way. It's really important that we all collaborate as technology pieces.
And how do you ensure to have that data secure and safe? Because you have access to so much data, and how is it like really, how do you deal with all of this information?
Well, a lot of much smarter people than myself that run the technology and data security centers at somewhere like Deliveroo. This is where the global element of our business becomes so valuable that, you know, we do have a sophisticated tech team and data security team that protects, you know, every piece of information that comes through our system. And we as a company follow something called GDPRS. It's the regulations around data protections in Europe, but we choose to follow it across the whole world because we believe in protecting customer data. You don't want, I mean, it's a small example, but if we gave a Deliveroo customer's data to every single restaurant they order from, which would be nice for the restaurant, right? You're ordering from 20 restaurants, let's say, every couple of months. Then 20 restaurants have your phone number, your email, your address, and they could, you know, they could maybe send you unsolicited messages or try to target you. And so protecting the customer data for examples like that and then broader security concerns is hugely important. And sometimes can be contentious depending on who you're dealing with, but you know, we take pride in the type of security systems that we monitor. And like I said, it's people that goes way above my head. It's people who really understand data security and protection far better than I could explain.
Yeah, as a technology-led business, as we all are, I think that's absolutely right. We all have to follow certain policies and the examples exist globally. And particularly in the Middle East, you know, you have to do that. I think the other side of it is that being the kind of platform that we are, where we're utilizing that data and translating it and making it tangible for restaurant owners, the other piece that we're really focused on is not allowing us as a tech business to start promoting competitor analysis. I think that's really important too. Your data is your data and it should be used for your business to grow your business. And it shouldn't be used in a way that allows other businesses to piggyback off of that. I think that's super important. It's not just about how you protect the data, it's also about how you're using that data or allowing your clientele to use that data too is super important moving forward.
Osama, with FoodX, you have access to as well data and very sensitive ones.
Lots of data.
Exactly. So how do you go with that?
So, like Siham, I'm not the technical person, but I do understand that FoodX, you know, we have all the bells and whistles when it comes to security. One of the most important things is to have a secured server. The data is a very sensitive part, like who gets to see what. This is very sensitive. So what we do is people who are working with FoodX and choosing FoodX as their tech service provider, they have access to data of their customers. But they are, like, we don't provide data to, let's say, maybe third-party applications that are working with us. Data are encrypted, and we are following the latest security measures.
Badr, would you like to add anything?
Honestly, nothing more than what the Siham, Osama, and Sean added when it comes to the tech. But there is a problem here, honestly. Restaurants or vendors need to see data to take good decisions. But you stay in a place where shall I share this or shall I stop it? Because you don't want to the customers to be spammed at the same time. So we did it in a way where I will provide you with good insights, like your retention rate, for example, is 20%. You just need to increase it by 40% by doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, we share data to an extent where it optimizes the efficiency and the top line, bottom line of restaurants, but we're also super careful when it comes to sharing it across. At the end of the day, as a platform, I'm obliged to provide restaurants with such data so Sean with the GrowDash can help them to grow their orders. So yes, when it comes to tech, they're taking all whatever it takes to save the data. And with the restaurants, we are super careful. We share to an extent where it helps them to boost their top line.
Going now back to profitability, how can you really ensure that technology, how does technology like really help business to be more profitable? Sean.
One of the key innovations that we've taken at GrowDash was to build a P&L, a dynamic P&L within our product suite.
So you help them with a P&L.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be building for any restaurant a P&L for them.
There's a P&L, yeah.
Okay.
It's not as good as going to your CFO, digging through all the POS data and understanding your food cost, but I think that the most important part of this is it shouldn't be just the finance team that have an understanding of profitability.
To understand where are the revenues
Exactly.
coming from and where are the expenses.
It should be all key decision makers. And, our main consumer group is marketing managers. They are spending departments. They are teams that have budgets to invest. And they should understand very clearly when they do invest and they decide on a strategy, how does that affect the top line? But also, what is the ramifications of that on the bottom line?
Okay.
If you do a discount campaign, you will drive better customer conversion, but ultimately you will end up with less profitability. If you, on the other hand, do a visibility campaign across CPC, like cost per click mechanisms, you will maybe not see the same level of order volume, but ultimately your bottom line will be much more healthier versus a discount campaign. That kind of knowledge and linking those together is something that has been missing in the F&B space for some time. And we're hoping that by displaying that P&L feature, that will allow restaurants to start learning and understanding the impact and the ramifications of decisions.
So basically they are able to be like really seeing figures and comparing with performances to see how much it's like paying back whatever they are doing.
Exactly. It's all about the return on investment. It's either return on investment in terms of discounts or it's a return on advertising spend, ROAS. Those two key metrics are key levers to understand, are your campaigns performing well in terms of for every dinar invested, what am I getting back? But outside of that, a campaign can be performing with good return on investment or good ROAS, but it could also have a negative impact on your P&L. Linking those two key pieces of information together is super important. There's a big learning and development piece to go across the whole GCC, I think, and even globally perhaps, about how these kind of different things link together. And I think there are definitely technologies here, particularly the aggregators particularly doing a great job of getting more metrics out there. The POS systems are doing a fantastic job of bringing that data to one place and allowing you to go really granular with your order volume data and seeing what's going on within those transactions. And hopefully technologies like us in the pre-order journey can help you kind of link all those pieces of information together to give you actionable insights. So I think it's a positive thing.
Osama?
So it's just like what Sean is trying to say. Like a proper restaurant who wants to see growth and profits, maybe when you think about it this way, because I had this conversation with a restaurant owner sometime recently. He was saying things are getting very difficult and expensive with restaurants. I'm paying commission for delivery platforms. I'm paying subscription for you guys as POS, analytical and marketing data such as GrowDash and etc. Right? But then, if you combine the right tools together, not only you will be seeing increase in profitability, you will also be, accessing new customer bases that you wouldn't have without the technology that is being offered today. So imagine a restaurant, using delivery applications, using analytical tools such as GrowDash, a point of sale system that is streamlining all the transactions, giving you the accuracy of the data that you need. Let's say a procurement, supply chain management system, an ERP system. When you combine all these together, you will actually see positive return on your investments. And this is how technology helps you today. It makes things more streamlined. It makes things more easy to use. And data, again, it's all about data analytics. You make proper decisions. You make better decisions when you can see how you are performing, where you lack, where is your areas of strength.
Thank you. Badr?
Definitely, there is a huge, I would call it, correlation between profitability and technology. As we started our panel discussing the trend of consumer, we realized that consumer nowadays, 2024, are more favorable of having a contactless experience. So back then, when the food delivery started in Kuwait, 2004, 2002, you need to call a call center to place an order. That's the only way to place an order. Right now, you can place your order, get your order delivered, even if you have an issue.
Without talking to anybody.
Exactly, exactly. And that definitely helped us to reduce the call center agents that you need. So instead of having 100 agents, now it became 20, and just observing the process of technology, if there are problems or not. So definitely there is a huge correlation between profitability and improvement in technology.
Siham, how do technology basically help business to be more profitable from the aggregator
Well, firstly,
side?
I really enjoyed those answers about how to support restaurants with that visibility, because the first step to managing for a restaurant profitability is visibility, and it's not always straightforward, right? You imagine like you have sales, you have cost, but it's not as straightforward as that. And things like return on investment, or should you run a discount, is that better for your bottom line if it drives growth by 10% but cuts your margins by X%? So I really enjoyed that. I think the way I think about profitability and technology, especially I'll talk specifically about food delivery, where I think there's a notorious reputation that we make high margins, but the reality is in food delivery, as many of you who maybe follow the earnings reports and stock market for delivery companies, we make very thin margins. And the way that we are able to be successful in driving profitability is by driving scale. So the more we can grow our active users, the more we can distribute our marketing cost across a larger scale of orders. The more we can grow the network of riders that we have, the more efficiency we can drive and the cost to deliver sales, and so on. And so the technology in the back end that enables that, so the technology that enables dispatching algorithms to be very efficient, the technology that enables restaurant onboarding in a seamless way and enables less touch points for the call center, all of that technology, the more sophisticated and enabled it is, the better the efficiencies you're going to drive, and therefore the more profitable you're going to be. And a lot of the work that I do as a general manager for anybody managing a food delivery business is to look through a P&L and look for every possible part that you can, optimize for. And so without really, really strong, well-developed technology across the entire three sides of the marketplace, you can't really achieve healthy margins that allow you to grow and reinvest in your partners, in your marketing, in your brand, in your teams. And so I always think about the importance of scale and technology to drive the efficiencies.
How do you make money?
How do you make money?
How do you charge? Like, what is it? You charge like clients, client, you take a percentage. So
it's that the definition of how we drive revenue as a food delivery has evolved over time. I mean, primarily we work on a commercial model, so we charge restaurants a commission, which the original model was that when Will Shu founded Deliveroo was the idea that you could add restaurants to the platform that have a kitchen and a dine-in setup, and they could drive X% incremental sales from the first setup, from the existing setup. So they wouldn't have additional costs except for food costs, but they could drive incremental sales, and therefore maybe their margins were a little bit lower because of the commission, but net they were up and they drove more profitability and more gains. So that was the original idea, and so commission was always the foundation. We obviously charge delivery fees, and now we've become more engaged with marketing and selling marketing ads on the platform because, over the last 10 years globally and 5 years in Kuwait, we've built a very large active customer base, and that active customer base is valuable from a marketing perspective. So ads that restaurants run, that's another revenue stream that we have. FMCG brands will run ads on our platform, that's another revenue stream. So we monetize across a few different avenues, but primarily, we're a commercial-based business and we charge commercial terms.
What about you, Badr? How do you make money?
As I mentioned, we work as an acquisition model here, not a commission model. So whenever we help a restaurant to acquire a new customer, we take a fixed fee from the restaurant. And that's it's only on repeat orders.
So it's a fixed fee per
new order.
Per new order.
Exactly. So if you acquired, let's assume 100 new customers today, I will charge you a fixed fee multiplied by this 100 customer. And those 100 customers belongs to you for 1 year. Meaning all the orders that they are placing for 1 year, we don't take any pie out of your top line.
Okay.
So that's how we make money, honestly. And then definitely there is the delivery fee on the customer, which we're trying super hard, honestly, to have it in a very affordable way, because we think customers today are looking for good delivery fees. Otherwise, they will just drive and enjoy the ride, get their order delivered, and they pick up their orders. So that's the whole game. Honestly, how we make money is basically the fixed fee that we take on from new orders and the delivery fee from customers.
Now, what about FoodX and GrowDash?
So with FoodX, it's very simple. We're a SaaS company. SaaS is in subscription as a service. So we charge you an annual fee or semi-annual fee for the services that we provide, and that's how we make our money.
Very similar. We charge a monthly subscription fee based on the number of brands, number of locations that are live. And then we justify or validate that fee by the case studies that we have that prove that by using GrowDash and not using GrowDash, you're able to generate better returns on investment. An example of that for it is our average for December for CPC ROAS was 8x versus the market average around 2.2x. So there's an incremental value to that, and that justifies our fee. We're not a cost-saving tool. We're a return investment tool that you can use.
Excellent. And if I'll ask you the question about AI. Now, we had like a discussion, Sean, before that we start our panel about AI. So how much AI is influencing your businesses?
Should I start? Yeah. AI for us is a centerpiece of what we're doing. I think AI is a fancy word. Machine learning is what we're really focused on. Machine learning means that we're using the resources that are based around AI to enable us to summarize data and make it tangible. It's really as simple as that. What that means for us is I think there's a lot of people that are concerned about whether AI is going to replace humans.
Exactly.
In the F&B industry, that I just don't see that happening. Dining you can't replace dining with AI.
With the experience.
Yeah, and in the digital space as well, when you look at digital sales, AI can only be a value add tool. It's about empowering the existing stakeholders to be able to do their job more efficiently and more effectively. When we look at how we're applying AI within our technology, it's taking a large data set and summarizing that data set into a tangible story that enables a marketing manager to say, I don't now have to spend 2 to 3 hours looking through that data and trying to work it out. The machine has done that for me. Now I can apply my time doing what I do best, which is growing this restaurant brand.
Okay. Anybody would like to add anything on this subject?
I totally agree with Sean that sometimes AI can be a fancy word when in reality there's a lot of applications of machine learning that already exists in sophisticated businesses. I mean, there's no way that a algorithm for food delivery delivering hundreds of thousands of orders can assign riders at the best possible time without a machine learning algorithm in the background. So there's a lot of form of machine learning and artificial intelligence across all sophisticated companies. I think AI, the AI that we maybe are talking about now, which is like your chat GPT and things like that, I think it is a world of endless possibility. The first step, I mean, what we've done at Deliveroo, one, we've introduced something called Roo GPT, which we work with chat GPT. We've incorporated it into our suite of tools that employees can use. So step one is to get everybody to be able to access a Roo modified version of GPT. So you can ask questions specifically about data at Deliveroo, about systems at Deliveroo, so that everybody starts to save, 5-10% of their time by using AI. I do it all the time. I mean, sometimes I'm writing an email, sometimes I need help thinking about ways to structure a problem. So getting everybody in our employee base used to it, not to replace anybody, but to become more efficient, because fundamentally that's what we're trying to do as businesses. And then the other thing is we're opening up kind of our tech team to a world of ideas. So we just did an AI hackathon where we got every engineer at the company and product person to get in a room for a couple hours and develop the coolest possible tools they could think of using AI. So they came up with, as you can imagine, all kinds of things like automated selection of restaurant ordering or AI generated selections or items or dishes and things like that, which is super fun. But I think we're just scratching the surface. Who knows what's going to happen next with AI? It's very exciting.
Osama, at FoodX, are you having do you recur to AI as well, ChatGPT and so on?
So yes, AI is being used today heavily in the industry. You can see the rise of chatbots acting as customer service agents. taking orders for you, handling queries for you. You can also see AI being used in reports and data analytics, telling you, some sort of menu engineering, telling you what is the market trends, what inventory item to buy beforehand, because it can forecast certain according to the market and the environment. It will forecast what inventory item you are going to miss soon. It can forecast market needs before, let's say, a big football game. If you're a restaurant, pizza, it will tell you that you will have to order more inventory and be ready with your team to have more sales. So yes, definitely AI is being incorporated heavily, and just like what Siham said, we can do a lot more in the coming future with AI.
Nothing more, honestly, to be added here, except for I think the age of AI is very young. I believe it will take a huge aspect of our lives on the upcoming few years, but nothing more to be added on what the panel just added in that regard.
What challenges do you face currently in the industry, in the food tech industry? Do you face challenges to convince your customers, be it B2B or B2C, depending on who am I asking, to convince them to use your services?
At Grodash, we don't have a problem convincing people to use our technology if they understand.
Because you are convincing them that it's not OI thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest part is the learning piece around why restaurants should accept data. It's not the actual use of the technology itself. If a restaurant is willing to understand how to use data and want to embrace data and understand how that can give them, sustainable growth, then at that moment, I think any of us here on this platform will be able to say that our technology can assist them. But I think the L&D piece right now is our biggest kind of movement. I think we see with enterprise accounts, the global brands and more of the more established kind of bigger mid-market chains and restaurant brands that they are making that shift already. I think it's more the standalone mum and pop tail brands that are kind of just a little bit behind that. So hopefully over the next couple of years, we'll see a whole shift in terms of how restaurants apply data to whether you're big or whether you're small.
How long have you been in the market now?
We've been going now for about 2 years.
2 years. So how big is your...
Yeah, we're working with over 250 restaurant brands across the UAE, Kuwait, and Qatar.
Okay.
That's about 3,500 locations, roughly.
And are we talking here about a certain segment, a specific segment? Do we see that there is a certain positioning in the restaurants that come and recur to your services, or it's like across the board?
Definitely. We're seeing more the mid-market chains that want to adopt technology.
Chains.
Yeah, I say mid-market. A mid-market account for me can either be a global brand that is franchised locally, or it could be a standalone brand that has 5 to 10 locations. That's more of a mid-market suite. The reason being it's more of the organizational setup. If you are quite a flat structure, going through a digital transformation can be quite expensive. So to bring in a cloud-based solution that can do that for you is very powerful versus someone like, a multi-franchise global brand that has, a big team. They'll have a BI team right now, and they're not willing to look at tools outside of what they're already building for themselves.
Okay.
And the tail brands, it's quite a big step to invest in something that is not a priority for them.
Okay.
So that's why the mid-market for us is the sweet spot.
Osama, what about the challenges do you face, and what is really the clientele that you're having you have been in Kuwait, established since how many years?
So we started in Kuwait a year ago, but Fodex has been longer in the market, in the region. The challenges that we face is, this is a very competitive landscape. There is more than one cloud-based POS. There is more than one just marketing analytical tool. There is more than one delivery platform. And each company or provider has a unique selling point, things that they are better at other than the competitor. So being in this highly competitive landscape, which is a good thing, to be honest, for companies to grow and for consumers to get the benefit out of this and in this landscape, the sector have been confused in what technology to incorporate within their businesses. So this is something that we have noticed. And regardless of what delivery platform you work with, what POS you work with. In the end, you have to make the right choice depending on your market size, depending on your business size in the market you are in. Foodex, I would say it caters to a wide variety of business owners, starting from one location businesses, food trucks, kiosks, and pop-up booth, cloud kitchens, enterprise accounts. All could work with Foodex, but similar to others. You know, we know that this is a competitive landscape, and we do the best to make sure we are always having the latest technology.
Okay, so back to you, Badr.
Yes, the
You
challenges.
started as well lately, right?
We started November 1st, 2022. So we're
Okay.
almost 1 year right now. The challenges here, I would divide them into two challenges, one with the B2B aspect and the B2C aspect. So we are in a very educational stage where restaurants are not yet familiar with our model. So basically, what they're familiar with, okay, I sell 1000 KD, your commission is 25%, take your 250, give me my 750, and that's it. We're here, we need to educate them. That's not the way that we work. It's basically you need to check how many customers you acquired and how much sales they have generated, and then you have to calculate the ROI here. That's the challenge when it comes to the B2B. The B2C aspect, I believe the challenge here, there are too many segments in Kuwait especially. So there is a segment that loves offers. So they only order when they see a good offer on the app. There are segments which are looking for quality of delivery, regardless of the delivery fee. I'm willing to pay more than what you charge me, just get my order delivered in 20 minutes. And there are too many other segments. The issue that you are only one brand and you need to talk to all of those segments. So finding that formula where you can speak to each segment, where having everyone happy, we're trying to find out this formula. So those are the challenges here.
Back to you, Siham.
I'll talk more broadly about Deliveroo as a global company. I think two things. One, like I said, this is not a highly profitable business yet. You know, although it's quite, Deliveroo is 10 years old. Food delivery maybe in places like Kuwait is even older. But this is a thin margin business because unlike, I would love it if we were a SaaS business. You know, unlike in a way when you kind of establish a technology and then every incremental sale is incremental. When you're doing food delivery, every incremental sale has an incremental cost because you have a cost of a driver, you have a cost of a transaction. So, which means that although scale is very important, the margins of the business are still very tight. So I think that is one challenge globally that we always think about. You know, we're a company, we have shareholders. At the end of the day, we have to deliver profitability. How are we going to maximize profitability, but at the same time still obsess over our customer base and you know, in a world where the second part of this is a very competitive environment, and because technology is so advanced and because the barriers to entry are lower than they were maybe 10-15 years ago, technology is more available, tech engineers are available, you can have a lot of entrants, you have a lot of competitors. And so how do you differentiate based on what your customer wants, whether it's value, whether it's the best selection of restaurants, whether it's grocery, whether it's service? How are you going to differentiate, maintain that differentiation, retain your customer base, and then, you know, still maintain a profitable business? I think it's a big challenge for food delivery companies. I think it's a long game. You know, it takes a long time to acquire and retain a customer, and you really have to have a solid kind of framework and view of what do you want to deliver and what matters to the customer. So it's a challenge every day, but I in a positive way. You know, I think that's what makes this industry so much fun for someone like me. Like, there's so many ways that you need to think about winning.
And who are like, which segment is basically the most that use services? Just like which positioning?
Everybody. I think that's the beauty of food delivery in Kuwait, that this
Even
is not,
with the high end.
I think, let's say a platform like Deliveroo, really we offer, you know, almost every single restaurant that exists in Kuwait exists on the platform. When Deliveroo started in London in 2013, it was like high street restaurants, like fancy Italian restaurant, no McDonald's, no, you know. So it was a very different model. But over time, we realized that everybody wants to order everything. You might be a high value customer that loves sophisticated sushi on a weekend, but on a weekday, you might want to order kind of a fast food burger or a hot dog. And so customers want that selection. And that's what we try to offer. So really, and in a place like Kuwait, where you have a population of 3-4 million people. The reason it's such an attractive food delivery market, you have over 4 competitors in the space, is because almost 100% of people of the 4 million are ordering at a high frequency, ordering 20 times a year, versus you go to France or the UK, maybe 20% of people are ordering food delivery and they're ordering 5 times a year. So, it's very competitive, and it's everybody. You got to be there for everybody, and you got to find a way to appeal for everybody.
Thank you. So one last question before that we conclude the session. Any future projects in the pipeline? Carrie?
Definitely. We're here to stay, given the fact that we are a Kuwaiti company that started in Kuwait. So the future is bright for us. It's basically we need just to prove it in some countries, and then the sky is the limit.
Great. So what is your next country?
We're currently operating in 5 cities: Kuwait City, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Riyadh, and Jeddah.
Okay.
Hopefully, our next stop would be somewhere beyond the Middle East someday.
Perfect. What about GrowDash?
Yeah, we're going to
Sean?
continue trying to innovate with technology, basically. We're going to try and keep taking data and making it tangible through different tools and technologies within our business. And outside of that, we've got a hard target to try and launch in KSA this year. That's our big North Star.
So maybe we'll see you next year at Orica in Riyadh.
Hope so.
Foodex, Osama.
So definitely when you're in the tech industry, it's all about innovation. So adapting to the market trends, adapting to the changes that is happening with consumer behavior and all that. You have to be agile and make sure you adapt the latest technology to stay in the market. And this is Foodex's goal, to always innovate and cater to the the dynamic needs and the rapid changes that is occurring and happening within the F&B industry. We are providing new solutions. We are consistently opening in different countries. So we are operating in Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi, UAE, Egypt, and we are still expanding across the region. And with every new feature we come up with every new product we launch, we are sure this is only going to serve the industry even better.
Thank you. And last but not least, Siham.
So maybe I'll split it into two. One, the thing I'm excited about as a project for Deliveroo globally is probably our retail business. So we're really thinking about, we've expanded in the UK and Dubai into the retail segment. I think it's super exciting, and I say this as a consumer. The idea of ordering, I don't know, a gift that I want to give, or maybe a pair of shoes in 30 minutes at a very reasonable price. That's kind of part of this bigger subscription model where I'm getting everything I need. That excites me. But I think I get excited about every little thing, and that's for me the projects. When I say how do you compete when there's a lot of players and they all can provide great value? For me, it's about obsessing over every little thing. Can I get 10 more restaurants available in Salwa for this neighborhood so that they can have a better selection of products? Can I make it 30 seconds faster in this particular neighborhood so that the customer has a better experience? I think those projects on the day-to-day are what excite me, but I think retail as a bigger project for Deliveroo is probably what I'm looking forward to seeing unfold in the next 12 months.
Thank you so much, Siham, Osama, Chon, and Badr. So let us give them a round of applause. And we can take questions for any of the panelists. There's a gentleman behind, yeah.
Who was it? No? 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 Was someone here wanting? No. Changed? No, he changed his mind. I was going to actually ask about the human resources aspect. because you talked about challenges, and I wondered whether you face challenges in terms of finding skilled labor for, I'm talking more in terms of the, the higher level positions, or even in terms of development programming. Do you outsource? Are you, how do you do that?
I mean, I'm very honestly speaking, it is challenging in a market like Kuwait. I think anybody who's worked here extensively understands the challenges in the talent pool and the availability of talent, and some of the constraints on attracting talent into the country. I think at Deliveroo, we have a lot of support and functions that operate out of Dubai, and we have a lot of all our tech functions operate out of London. I mean, it's never easy. I think there's a lot of competition. Let me put it this way: there's a lot of competition for talent in the GCC, and I think it is very lucrative for people now to go to a place like Saudi Arabia, to go to a place like Dubai, and so. Unfortunately, that's definitely something I would like to see change. I think we would love to be able to bring top tier, best in class talent directly to Kuwait to enable businesses like everybody here on the table to grow, to have the right strategic thinking, to have the right experience. But that is a big challenge, and it's really rooted in the idea that there's competition for talent in the region that we are not well positioned to compete for. But trying to be optimistic that that's something that's going to change, hopefully in 2024.
Okay. We have one more question.
Hello, hi. My question is to Mr. Badr. First of all, I'm a big fan of your app. I've been using it since it started, and it's really good. And I also had you had recently a marketing campaign on the billboards in which you were proudly saying that we don't charge percentage. We don't take out of the percentage profits of the restaurants. I want to elaborate on that. Like, what are the challenges you have faced, entering into the food delivery area from the other established brands like Talabat and Deliveroo? And you are proudly saying that on the billboard that we don't charge a percentage from the restaurants. So can you say more on that?
First of all, it's a pleasure that you're using our application. It means a lot. Keep supporting us, please.
Definitely.
Thank you for your great question. The challenges here, honestly, on having a new model being introduced to restaurants, the history says that Talabat has been here in Kuwait, especially for more than 20 years. So restaurants are already familiar on giving a pie of their top line to the aggregators, regardless if it's X, Y, or Z. So the challenge here is basically educating restaurants that you're better off investing all of your marketing here. Or you know what, you don't need even a marketing department, just to throw all that on us. As a restaurant, what you care about is getting new orders and the new customers. Plus, what matters is retaining those customers. So what's the benefit of having new customers coming in every single day, but they never come back? So we as a platform, we do the heaviest part, which is the acquiring customers. And then I provide the restaurants with all the tools that gives them the ability to retain their customers. So one of the tools is basically running a free delivery only for repeated orders. So if that's a customer who placed an order before, just run a free delivery on his second, third, fourth, fifth order. So this is the way that we're going forward with our model. I hope that the question answers your question. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, so thank you again. And with that, we will be concluding our series of talks for Oreca this year. Thank you, Leaders Group, for hosting those interesting talks, and see you next year.